Hare Krishna, everyone. Thanks for coming here. Now we will try to understand about positivity and how can we cultivate in this seminar. To first begin with the positivity, let's understand what is negativity and what are all the consequences of negativity. Back in the olden days, when before the war of Mahabharata, when Pandavas were living in the forest with their mother and father, the father was killed at that time because of the curse. He has passed away, and mother took all the children along with her and came to Hastinapura. Hastinapura is the place where Duryodhana is living along with his brothers under the care of Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra was the king of Hastinapura at the time. Now, because Pandu was ruling the kingdom before Dhritarashtra, so they had come back to the kingdom, taking um, Kunti had come back to the kingdom, taking all the kids. Now, this is a situation where Kauravas and Pandavas had to live together as kids. They haven't grown up yet. So, when they go out for playing, they used to play together. They used to sit and enjoy together, eat together, sleep together. That was a time they were playing together and doing all the things. Pandavas were very virtuous in nature, and because of their behavior, many people started liking him. Out of the Pandavas, Bhima was extremely very powerful, and he used to exhibit his prowess, speed, and strength in front of other kids. Sometimes he used to just grab other kids by the collar and then throw them away. And this is how the Kshatriya kids used to play. Looks like bullying for us. So he also did the same thing to Duryodhana. He grabbed Duryodhana by the collar and then threw him far away. Now Duryodhana was very much insulted by this act, because just before the arrival of the Pandavas in Hastinapura, he was the much pampered child and he is going to be the next king. Now, because he was so much insulted by this act, he started developing negative attitude toward the Bhima. Started thinking bad about the activities of Bhima, started thinking bad about Bhima, started dwelling on the same negative thoughts that what Bhima had done, how it has affected him, how he was insulted by him, how much prowess Bhima had that he did not have. Started dwelling on these facts, and then it affected him so much that one day he decided that I want to kill Bhima now. So he arranged for a feast in a pleasure garden near the bank of a river. So he called all the Pandavas to the feast, and he has specifically prepared a great feast for Bhima, because Bhima is called Vrikodara. He has a very um, a great appetite all the time. And on the food prepared for the Bhima, he has put poison. Now, a person who is putting poison on somebody else's food, his mind must have been so much poisoned, because food is something which people give in charity to others without any consideration, and is something that everybody enjoys while taking it. If you are putting poison in that moment, then the person should have had a very cruel mind. So Bhima ate the poisoned food, and all the kids, after taking the feast, they went to the river and then they were playing. So they all came back after playing in the river. They all came out and then took rest. So when Bhima was coming out of the water, he fell to the effects of the poison in his body. So he just fell down on the bank of the river. and the breeze was nicely happening, increasing the effects of his poison in the body. And Duryodhana thought that I have successfully killed this person. Now I should get rid of the trace. If somebody finds out that this body is there on the bank of the river, then they will start doing the investigation and then they may figure out Duryodhana had done this. So he wants to get it off the trace. Once you do a crime, get it off the trace. That's the next step. So he planned to throw Bhima into the river. But then, what if Bhima wakes up inside the river because of the effect of the water? So he took a large amount of rope and then tied over the body of Bhima in such a way that he cannot come out even if he wakes up inside the river. If he will be suffocated by the water and then he will eventually die. You want to make sure the plan is pakka. So he tied him with the ropes and then threw him into the water. And Bhima went inside and then landed in the abode of snakes. Snakes bit him very nicely. Huge number of snakes were biting him all over his body from all the sides. The poison of the snake worked as an antidote for the poison he has consumed. So he has actually escaped out of the poisonous effect that he had intaken. And he is very powerful. All the ropes around his body, just with one wiggle of his body, he broke everything. And then later he fought with the snakes, and then he got the blessings of the snakes, and he got nectar. After drinking that nectar, he became much more powerful than he was. And then when he came out of the water, he was more powerful than previously he was. This infuriated Duryodhana further. I was trying to kill him. I thought he is almost dead. Now he is much more powerful than what he was. This tendency of Duryodhana over Bhima started growing. He started cultivating actively. And then, when they all grew up, Duryodhana planned to kill all the Pandavas. Now, his enmity toward Bhima has spread over to all the Pandavas. Whoever is related to Bhima. He wants to even kill them as well. So he built a house of lac and sent all the Pandavas inside and tried to burn the entire house, burn them to death, make them disappear. Now Pandavas escaped that. We all know that. Then Duryodhana escaped that. We all know that. Then the time for dividing the kingdom came. So Duryodhana had manipulated in such a way that the Pandavas will get the Khandava Prastha. It's a barren land. Nothing will grow in that. And Duryodhana will get the Hastinapura, which is a glorious kingdom. Pandavas took the Khandava Prastha, which is a very barren land. Nothing grows in there. And because of their prowess, austerity, worship, and with the help of the Supreme Lord Krishna, they have made the Khandava Prastha into Indraprastha. A very great city, very opulent city, and providing all sorts of opportunities for the citizens. Now, all the talents of different cities started coming inside that Indraprastha. Even the talents from Hastinapura started moving, migrating to Indraprastha. This infuriated Duryodhana further. So he thought that somehow I have to pluck everything out of the Pandavas and then crush them. So he summoned them for a gambling match. And he made sure that the order goes through Dhritarashtra. And then all the Pandavas came. He played the match. He rigged the match. It's explained in Mahabharata. The match was rigged. And Shakuni played that. And He took out all the wealth and fortunes of the Yudhishthira Maharaj. He even made sure that Yudhishthira Maharaj pledges all the Pandavas, including himself, and then Draupadi as well. And then he stopped that there. So when Yudhishthira Maharaj had lost himself and the Pandavas and Draupadi, which means that he has become slave for Duryodhana. Even after that, he wasn't satisfied. He took out all the dresses of the Pandavas and brought Draupadi into the assembly hall to make her clean the assembly hall and live with the workers. She should not live in the queen's quarters. And then Karna came into picture, and he was trying to disrobe Draupadi through Dushashana, and Krishna protected her. And then Duryodhana sent all these Pandavas to the forest with conditions that 12 years they will live in the forest, and 13th year they have to hide themselves in the forest. Duryodhana will send out the armies to search in the forest whether they can find the Pandavas, and if they find the Pandavas, they have to again live another 13 years in the forest. And once they complete it successfully, he will give the kingdom. But when they completed it successfully, when they came back and asked for kingdom, he did not give. And then finally, the Pandava side, they came down to a level of asking only 5 villages, each one for one village per one of the Pandavas. Duryodhana said, I won't even give the land that a pin can stand on it. So if you take a pin and then drop it, it can stand in the ground. And even that much of land that is covered by the diameter of the thickness of the pin, he won't even give that much land to the Pandavas. Then the Mahabharata war happened. Duryodhana made sure to engage all the high exalted souls, Bhishma, Drona, Kripacharya, everyone in the fight. And then finally, he got destructed. So this is how the negative attitude works. When we start dwelling on negative things, it leads to destruction. What is negativity? Negativity is the process of allowing, permitting, enabling our mind on destructive things. If we do the same thing of allowing, enabling, and permitting our mind to work on constructive things, then that is positivity. If our mindset and attitude and disposition of the mind, as well as the thinking, everything is focused on negative things, then that is negative thinking. That person has humiliated me in front of all the people in the meeting. How dare he can do that? He was talking bad about me behind my back. He did not respect my words, and he convinced everyone to act against my advice. Many of us face these kind of situations in the office or in the temple. His talks and actions just simply create anger within me. This is criticizing the other person. Or we can criticize our own self. Why I am so greedy? I'm just looking for something from others all the time. Why I'm doing this mistake again and again and again? I must be a stupid person. Now all this is called self-loathing. That person has so much intelligence that anyone asks a question, he immediately answers. I'm not able to do that. He always looks cool in front of everyone. And whatever he jokes, people simply laugh at him. And I try to joke so much, nobody is even bothering. Everyone becomes very close friends with him. I'm not able to gather friends. This is jealousy. Focusing on criticism and jealousy is the root cause of the negative attitudes. When we focus on these thought patterns again and again, then the negative attitude begins to grow within us. Just like Duryodhana, initially he was affected by the insult given by Bhima. Bhima insulted him. But he took that insult deep into his heart and then he started dwelling over it again and again. And that led him to a drastic decision of killing Bhima. At least he was doing the killing without the knowledge of anyone. That is the beginning. So, in the beginning, we'll start hurting the other person without the knowledge of anyone. Then, what did he do next? He tried to burn them within the house of lac, and then he tried to give them the a barren land, a Kandava Prastha. This attitude, it's kind of some people know, even the Pandavas know that this guy is doing something bad. In the first killing, neither Bhima nor the Pandavas had any suspicion over Duryodhana. But in the second part, they knew that he is doing bad to us, but he cannot openly say because outside it looks good that he is offering something. So this is called hypocrisy. And then next, during the gambling match, he was openly boasting his envy against the Pandavas. And he was openly summoning Draupadi to clean the palace and live with the workers. And then finally, he sent them to the forest. It's an open display of envy. And then the next step, he engaged even others in working for him in committing his envy toward the Pandavas. It's a gradual growth. We have to see whenever we are having negative attitude, we have to see where we are in this. First, we do is hidden way, then we do it with in a hypocritical way, then we do it open display, openly declaring war, and then we finally engage even others also committing into the mistake. Everything starts with the basic thing, focusing on the faults others have done to us, the mistakes others have done to us, the crimes others have done to us. Now, of course, if it is a serious crime, you have to take a decision. But what we are talking about is dwelling on that. We also discussed about self-loathing. That looks, oh Prabhuji, we have to improve ourselves. How can, without understanding the faults within us, how can we improve ourselves? You have a glass and it is half filled with water. And then if a person says it is half empty, what is that person called? Pessimist. And if a person says it is half full, what is that person is called? Optimist. But this is the way usually we are taught, but this need not be the same way. We have to understand that. A person can also be positive thinking even if he says that the glass is half empty. It depends on what is he going to do about it. Says, person says this is half empty. How can I make it full? If you are thinking that it is always half full, You are satisfied with that. You don't want to improve it to full glass. So that is actually not helpful. That's not constructive thinking. But if I think that this glass is half full, how can I make it full? Then that is a positive thinking. But if I dwell on the fact that this glass is half empty, this glass is half empty, how can I, what is this? This is half empty. Why it is half empty? Why it has to be half empty? Why it is for me only it is half empty? We start dwelling on that fact, then it becomes self-loathing. Similarly, when we are thinking about ourselves, I'm such a greedy person, I'm such a nonsense person. If you just keep on dwelling on that fact, then you'll develop self-loathing and low self-esteem. But if you think about, okay, I have this quality, how can I improve myself? And that is positive thinking. Positive thinking does not simply affect one person, it affects everyone else. Similarly, negative thinking. Negative thinking is like a burning rod. Now, we may exhibit anger on the other person because of our negative tendency, and that may affect the other person. We may be thinking that I have crushed him because of anger, like Duryodhana thought that he has crushed Bhima, he has killed Bhima, and he has every other opportunity to crush them. But it is like an iron rod which is burning. So you want to take that iron rod in your hand and whirl around it about your head and then throw onto the other person. So when you throw that burning rod onto the other person, it's going to affect him, it's going to hit on him, he'll get burned. But then for most of the time we are taking it in our hand, then whirling around our head, we are holding it. That is going to affect us more than actually the person who is going to receive it. So negative thinking is deeply destructive for oneself rather than others. And negative thinking leads to a demoniac mentality. Let's read Bhagavad Gita, verse 16th chapter, verse 13. Please repeat after me. Idam madhya maya labdam, idam madhya maya labdam, imam prapsye manoratam, imam prapsye manoratam, idam asti idam api me, idam asti idam api me, bhavishyati punardhanam, bhavishyati punardhanam. असौ मया हतः शत्रुर् असौ मया हतः शत्रुर् हनिष्ये चापरानपि हनिष्ये चापरानपि ईश्वरोऽहम् अहं भोगी ईश्वरोऽहम् अहं भोगी सिद्धोऽहं बलवान् सुखी सिद्धोऽहं बलवान् सुखी आड्योऽभिजनवान् अस्मि आड्योऽभिजनवान् अस्मि कोऽन्योऽस्ति सदृशो मया कोऽन्योऽस्ति सदृशो मया यक्ष्ये दास्यामि मोदिष्य यक्ष्ये दास्यामि मोदिष्य इति अज्ञानविमोहिता इति अज्ञानविमोहिता. Translation: Krishna is talking about the demoniac person. The demoniac persons think, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future, more and more. So now this looks like every one of us, oh, I have so much wealth and I want to improve it. What is demoniac in this? Every business is trying to do that. Every human is trying to save and then improve the wealth, whatever he has. This is the first part, but we have to see what Krishna says the next. The demoniac person thinks, he is my enemy and I have killed him. and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the lord of everything, and I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest person surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall. So this looks like very positive person or egoistic person. So what about the negativity? We have thought about self-loathing and other things. Person, we said the self-loathing is also negativity, and negativity leads to demoniac mentality. Actually, negativity takes two paths. One path is a demoniac path, the other path is extinction path. So when you involve on negativity about oneself, self-loathing, self-criticism, it will lead to extinction. It will lead to the path of extinction. Person will commit suicide. He cannot live with himself anymore. His mind is more troublesome. He cannot live with his own mind. He has to get some sleep, permanent sleep. I want to go to sleep and I don't want to wake up ever. That is suicidal thought. The other path is he becomes more arrogant and egoistic and becomes demoniac, as the Lord is describing here. He thinks, I am the most happiest person. I don't have any fault within me. Whatever I think is correct and he is my enemy, he should be eliminated. And then, you are living in the community. You cannot live with this kind of demoniac mentality in front of all the people. So, what do you have to do? You have to do a marketing job. Market yourself as very good person. So the demoniac person thinks, I shall perform sacrifices, I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. So do some marketing, give some charity, perform some sacrifices, and then make sure we fix our images outside externally very nicely. We can continue our life. A PR job, many of the politicians do. So we have to be really careful about the both the external negativity and the internal negativity. Negativity starts from a surrounding situation, that something is affecting us, something somebody has done bad to us. It starts from that. If you start keep dwelling on that, it will lead to a drastic destruction of our own self. Internal negativity is recollection of the old things, dwelling on the past mistakes. All these things can also lead to destruction of our own self. So we have to be really careful these two negative things. Hare Krishna.